Hello, my name is Timothy Chester, and I am currently studying show production and touring at Full Sail University. Today I'll be interviewing Barry Phillips, a lighting instructor at Full Sail University and a freelance lighting designer. What do you see as the role of visual arts in society today, particularly in your profession? We live in a very visual world. The 24-hour news channel brings everything that is happening right to our living rooms and everywhere else all day and all night. Image is everything, and most people try to craft some sort of image for themselves that may or may not be grounded in reality. A singer can make up a complete lack of musical talent if they look good or at least interesting on television, videos, or magazines. Images have always been carefully crafted. Hollywood was the first to really take advantage of the visual medium to create images for their stars that were often 360 degrees opposite from reality. Oddly enough, radio tried to do the same thing by creating characters and personalities that the audience could see in their minds. Musicians have always tried to create an image for themselves through their album covers and later through their music videos. Good websites have to have a visual element, particularly if you're marketing a product and social media has everyone trying to impress with their latest pictures and videos. We are bombarded with images from the time we get up to the time we go to bed. Visual arts have always been an important part for the live entertainment business, from theatrical sets to album covers to video. From the beginning, performers had to create images for themselves and have used every medium available to project that image to the public. In Hollywood, it was the job of a studio publicist to craft a wholesome image for movie stars. In music, album covers and publicity pictures helped create personas for singers and bands. Later, television appearances and music videos served that same purpose. New communications and media technologies make imagery almost instantaneously available. Do you believe that this is having a positive or negative influence on your field/industry? Provide an example, please. Both. People today have all the information in the world available at their fingertips. When I was a kid, if I wanted to see a famous painting or photograph, you had to go to the library and hope you could find something in the encyclopedia. If you wanted to find out about a certain artist or genre of art or history of time, you might need to search through several of volumes to find out what you needed, and they were very limited to what was available. That limited your knowledge, but it also required you to be more resourceful. Today, you can search anything in a phone and get 9 million hits in a nanosecond. Sites like Flickr or Shutterfly let you travel around the world to see the world's greatest museums and natural wonders and never leave your chair. Curious about an old movie or TV show? YouTube gives you instant access to 50-year-old commercials. Movies, Netflix delivers them right to your smartphone. Having instant access to information is great, but I think it tends to make us lazy too. I think having to explore and search something makes finding it a lot more satisfying. With everything so easy to find, we tend to look on everything as disposable, and we don't appreciate everything that is available to us. We also tend to want everything now. Students think that they are going to walk out of my class right into a six-figure job, and that's just not reality. Every month I have at least one student who gets upset and frustrated because they can't master a console in 4 short weeks. The fact that I've been working with some consoles for well over a decade and still feel like I haven't mastered them doesn't seem to register with them. We want them to be the best at everything with as little time as possible. We've got so many resources at our fingertips and so many tools and gadgets that will do much of the grunt work for us that we no longer have to work as hard on something, and I think that is a very unhealthy thing in this business and in society in general. What popular images do you see that are frequently repeated throughout your industry? We repurpose just about everything, but some of the images that we get repeated a lot more than other are iconic album covers, photographs, and artwork that came from the 60s and early 70s. The Beatles' Abbey Road album cover has been probably recreated and spoofed more than any other album cover in history. The same goes for Andy Warhol's Campbell's Soup cans paintings. Famous photographs of Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Marilyn Monroe, and the scenes from Woodstock are now considered collectible works of art. Just about every kid my age had a blacklight poster on their wall of their room, and UV remains one of my favorite lighting toys. And there are a bunch of bands like the Rolling Stone and the Who that have turned their logos into a cottage industry, and those are endlessly repurposed, reused, and spoofed all around the world. What is your favorite visual artist, and or what is your favorite style of visual art? Mostly what I've learned on about art is from Monty Python. The same goes for classical music and PQD, Bach, so my taste may be a little bit warped. But I do like color, and I do like action. I like very bold colors and vivid imagery, so some of my favorite artists have always been people like Alexander Calder, Leroy Neiman, Robert Indiana, and Peter Max, names that would probably make artist purists scream, but who work on grand scales and whose color wake up my brain and stimulate my senses in ways that are important to my creative process. Artists that you've probably never heard of, like Bill Ballantine and John Howell, who have created vivid portraits of circus performers, and Mike Creevy, who creates some of the most incredible, colorful, and whimsical art based on his days with the circus. My favorite artist, that would be my 4-year-old nephew, Ethan. I've got 2 of the coolest paintings of flowers that he did in preschool on my wall in my office at home, because no one does colorful abstract art like a preschooler. How has your knowledge of famous artworks influenced your creative process? Obviously, color and composition are very important to a lighting designer, whether you're trying to substitute lighting of a theatrical set or a big loud lighting of a rock and roll show. What I know about these elements of classical artwork have certainly helped me over the years, but I tend to draw a little bit more from other areas like photography and animation. In fact, I describe my creative process in terms of creating snapshots and extremes, which are often terms for those disciplines. I also try to keep my work very clean with a lot of straight lines, and I try to use limited color palette when creating those looks, since too much color and lighting tends to turn everything into a brown, mushy soup. The knowledge that I have of famous artwork, and I have been fortunate to visit some of the world's great art museums and see them in person, have influenced on my creative process, but I draw inspirations from many different areas. Arts, movies, cartoons, architectures, photos, sunsets, a trip to the zoo, or a wreck around the Florida Mall. Any and all of those things can be an important part of my weird little creative world.